Monday morning, the first round of stroke play at the 122nd United States Amateur Championship. 3 years, 5 months, and 28 days after the USGA made their announcement to bring the U.S. Amateur to New Jersey, the greatest championship in amateur golf was about to get underway. The honor of the opening tee shot typically goes to a local player, and this year was no exception. At precisely 7 a.m. local time, off of hole number 9, Dougie Ergood Jr. from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, put the first ball in play at the U.S. Am. Joined by Austin Riley from Pottsboro, Texas, and Justin Biewer from San Diego, California, they swept the dew off of Ridgewood's perfectly manicured fairways and were on their way.
Good morning and welcome to round one of the 122nd U.S. Amateur Championship conducted by the United States Golf Association.
Minutes later, on the first tee, Mark Costanza from Morristown, New Jersey, was joined by Hazen Newman of Las Vegas, Nevada, and Campbell Kramer from Louisville, Kentucky. Costanza, Newman, and Kramer, these three players weren't randomly paired together. Even the USGA couldn't resist the opportunity to infuse a little humor into the U.S. Amateur. This pairing became known as the Seinfeld group.
So we start with Mr. Costanza. We find a Kramer, we find a Newman, and we're sitting down there in the rules office as we get ready to prepare for launching our pairings, and we got to keep ourselves entertained a little bit from time to time, with fans of the show, so just kind of came together.
One of the earliest marquee pairings of the day started their 122nd U.S. Amateur Championship off on the 9th hole. Luke Clanton, the reigning North and South Amateur champion, and David Ford, winner of the Southern Amateur, joined William Mao, the current Trans-Miss Amateur champion. While all three would produce excellent shots over the next 2 days, the most memorable shot of the week for Luke Clanton occurred before the championship proper officially started.
The flagpole challenge has been a tradition, but Byron Nelson started that in 1935. He was an assistant golf professional here. A couple of caddies said, "How you hitting it, Byron?" And he said, "I've never hit it better." And so this bet came about where they gave him 3 balls to hit the flag stick from the slate, and he hit a 3-iron. Smack dab right in the middle of the flagpole. The legend, that's what created it. And so from there, we've kind of added that into some of our member guests and some fun things we do around the club.
To the casual follower of the amateur golf landscape, players could start to look alike as they marched down the fairways. This is not the case for amateur golf's odd couple, Chase Sienkiewicz from the University of Arizona, and Yuki Moriyama, a recent transfer to UNLV. Sienkiewicz is a 6'4" California native with Hollywood leading man looks and is widely considered one of the longest hitters in the game. The Uke, as he is known, is from Kanagawa, Japan, and his height, to be generous, is slightly under 6 feet tall. He is, however, the first Japanese golfer to compete in the U.S. Junior Amateur 3 years in a row. While they aren't paired together in stroke play, these two close friends will look to do everything they can to put themselves in a position to face each other in match play later this week.
I know him since I was little, and I always try to catch up to him, but it's very difficult. He just stripes it, high cut, low cut, hit down middle, 350 easily.
Yuki used to have the swing that goes all the way back, and that was like my favorite thing about him, because he'd do the, I have so many videos of him doing the club twirl and then like the high yaw kind of thing.
Charlie Waddell is currently on a heater, as the kids would say. He's also one of the very few in the field this week that has kids. The former all-conference star from Bucknell University and reigning Chicago District Amateur champion is making his 6th consecutive appearance in the U.S. Amateur, a tremendous accomplishment, one that allows Charlie to maintain perspective and truly enjoy his time at these two historic clubs in New Jersey.
I've been on property for 36 hours. It's been outstanding. It has been so much fun to see the clubs embrace having the guys here, having the competition. Like, that is just such a cool sort of aura that comes around a championship like the U.S. Amateur.
The United States Amateur Championship is not an invitational tournament. Entry is based solely on merit. It is not restricted by age, race, nationality, or how many zeros you may or may not have in your bank account. During stroke play, 3 players from distinctly different walks of life found themselves in the same pairing. Luke Potter, the 18-year-old phenom from Southern California that rewrote the junior golf record books by becoming the youngest champion in the 121-year history of the Southern California Amateur. Mateo Fernandez de Oliveira, the All-American from Argentina and reigning South America Amateur champion. He's coming into this year's U.S. Amateur with confidence after a runner-up finish at the Western Amateur just 2 weeks prior. And then there's Joe Alfieri, the elder statesman in the group from Lutz, Florida. He knows all too well that Father Time is undefeated. The challenge is great, but that's what drew the reigning Amateur Player of the Year from the state of Florida to the U.S. Amateur, the challenge of competing against the best in the world. Today's 8:13 a.m. pairing at Arcola featured 3 of amateur golf's heavyweights, Travis Vick, Sam Bennett, and Austin Greaser, who had the momentum after capturing the Western Amateur 2 weeks prior. But the dream summer to this point belongs to Travis Vick. After clinching the national championship for his Texas Longhorns, his encore performance took place a few weeks later at the U.S. Open, where he captured low amateur honors. While Sam Bennett also made the cut at the U.S. Open, his summer has been a bit quieter, and that is by design. He has largely taken a break from competition to prepare for his return to Texas A&M for one more ride next season.
I like college golf more than amateur golf. I don't have a very good amateur record, really. You know, just traveling across the states with your, teammates and best friends and, eating free meals and free gear and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool.
After 18 holes at Arcola, it was horns up for Vic as he shot 69 to lead the group's opening efforts. Despite a rocky opening 9, Bennett turned it around to card a 71 to sit at +1. Greaser was 2 behind Bennett, and the fond memories of last year's performance at Oakmont were replaced with frustration as he headed off to the range, hoping to regain form tomorrow at Ridgewood. Even at the highest level of competition, the best players in the world share notes after a hard-fought day on the golf course.
I think the rough on Arcola is slightly less thick, but also there's spots out there that are pretty much a chip out too, but there's a lot of pins you can go for and a few that you just got to be really smart.
This is especially true for Luke Gifford and Derek Hitchner. Next season, they will join forces at Pepperdine in search of a national championship.
Luke's an awesome player, and we're stoked to have him, and it'll be a huge help for the team.
Both will switch venues for tomorrow's second round, so the insight that they offer each other will be invaluable. For players that had performed well in the first round, the goal for Tuesday's second round is to keep the momentum. For players that struggled, they'll be looking to find something, anything, that will turn their championship around. While one half would look to accomplish this feat at Ridgewood, the other half moved down the street to Arcola. Conversations with players and caddies on the practice tee produced a common sentiment that Arcola could provide more scoring opportunities than Ridgewood. If you can get through Ridgewood, you just might have a chance to chase back into contention at Arcola. Such was the case for Connor McKinney as he bounced back from a 74 at Ridgewood to shoot 68 at Arcola to finish tied for 14th, well inside the cut line. He was joined by Tommy Cool and Sam Bairstow, who made up ground at Arcola by shooting 69s respectively. They too could start making plans for a round of 64 match tomorrow. And then there was Gordon Sargent. He hobbled into Arcola on Tuesday morning after a 3-over par 74 at Ridgewood. Not only would he need to avoid big numbers at Arcola, but he also needed birdies. Lots of them. The NCAA champion did not disappoint. With his back against the wall, Sargent produced the only bogey-free round of the championship. 5 birdies, no bogeys, a sparkling 65 that would vault him into 5th place by day's end. One of the players that maintained form was the youngster from West Point, Mississippi, Cohen Trolio. A runner-up finish in last year's U.S. Junior propelled him to a successful freshman year at LSU, where he gained a spot on the SEC All-Freshman team. After an opening even par round yesterday at Ridgewood, Trollio used this birdie on 18 to secure another even par round at Arcola, and would find himself on the first page of the leaderboard. Another player looking to ride yesterday's momentum was Fred Biondi. The University of Florida star posted a 1 under par round of 70 at Arcola and came to Ridgewood looking for similar success. Capable of stringing together birdies as well, Biondi opened with 3 front 9 birdies and held on tight to post -3 for the championship. The senior from Sao Paulo had his sights set on getting his name onto the Havemeyer Trophy. But the U.S. Amateur isn't his favorite championship on the schedule. That would be the Latin America Amateur Championship.
I get to go and see a bunch of my friends from South America and Latin America, play some really cool courses, and the way they run it, it's just from A to Z, it's amazing. They do such a good job with just arranging everything to the way they host you and the golf courses and the golf itself. I mean, there's a lot on the line, but in the end of the day, we have a blast there.
Surviving Ridgewood is a tall order, one that Nick Gabrelsic, 6'2", and Ross Steelman, 6'5", knew would require every bit of their skill and talent. The All-Americans from North Florida and Georgia Tech held steady the entire round and would find themselves in great shape heading to match play. Both made deep runs last year at Oakmont. Steelman bowed out in the quarterfinals at the hands of eventual finalist Austin Greaser, and Gabrelsic lost in the semis to champion James Pyatt. Both have their sights set on reaching the finals here at Ridgewood and earning a spot on next year's Walker Cup team. Hardly anyone outside of the gallery ropes knows what it's like to compete in a USGA championship.
It's so special, and I think it's super important, especially, for everyone, but especially for first-timers.
But if you looked carefully, you'd find Rachel Heck taking in some of the action on Tuesday at Arcola.
It looks so pure. It just looks like a perfect Northeastern golf course, thick, rough. I mean, you can already tell that the greens, the fairways are all in perfect shape.
The Stanford All-American has plenty of USGA experience under her belt. She hasn't lost touch with how special it is to compete in a USGA championship.
These experiences are so unique and so special, and every golfer wants to play in USGA events, and you made it to the highest stage in amateur golf. So no matter how this week goes, no matter how short or long it is, just soak it all in.
At the end of the day, players are solely concerned about their own performance. But for one man, his concern is every player in the field. For over a decade, Ben Kimball, Senior Director of Championships for the USGA, has made it his mission to ensure a fair but stern test of golf.
I think Ridgewood has held itself pretty well. We know it's a long, hard golf course. Mother Nature has been friendly to us, and the players are starting to see and feel that, as rounds are coming to a conclusion today.
This week is a home game for many USGA staffers, which gives Ben a chance for an impromptu bring your kids to work day.
We live 30 minutes from here down in Morristown, New Jersey, so it's been nice to have a home event where they could actually come up and see and understand what their father does for a living. They always ask, where do you go in the middle of the summertime? It's summer, you should be home when we're home from school. So now they know, right guys? Yeah.
As the stroke play portion of the championship came to a close, so did the hopes of some of the best players in the game. All arrived with high expectations, but most left disappointed after missing the cut, knowing that a return to the biggest stage of amateur golf is far from guaranteed. The match play portion of the 122nd U.S. Amateur starts on Wednesday with the always volatile opening round of 64, where anything can happen.